Again, a pleasant morning to everybody, and it's such a privilege and honor to be a part of this event, especially at its 10th anniversary. And boy, I was walking around this morning and introducing myself, and somebody asked me, really, Doc, is that your real name? Or is that a stage name of sorts? In full transparency, that's my real name. It's the Latin origin of the word Duke. My father thought I'm going to give some royalty to this word. That didn't happen because I'm here today. So. But that being said, I'm very excited, not only for this session, but for this event in general, and the whole idea of IT focused on business. What a concept, right? IT, business. And we're in this interesting time that we have to step up. We're in this interesting time that we have to respond better, not only internally within our organization, but help our organization respond better to our customers as well. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning, on how you as IT can inspire, transform, and facilitate business-driven IT. Now, before I show you the key steps on how to do this and talk to you about what's going on in the world today, let me step back as to what's been happening in the past few years. Remember the store? For those of you not quite familiar with Blockbuster, in 1999, they did a massive IPO. Made a lot of money from this IPO. They were the poster child for watching videos. And then at the same time, there's a guy named Reed Hastings, IT guy, sitting at his home. He got so fed up with paying late fees. Because he always forgets to return his DVD. I want to change this. I want to start putting videos online and make people watch it online. So he started a little company called Netflix at that time. And Blockbuster knew about it. It's like, yeah, whatever. Streaming video, that's not going to fly. In 2004, at the peak of Blockbuster's business, they had 9,000 stores, 60,000 employees, and in fact, in 2007, the CFO said, you know what? Let's scale back on our internet streaming business. Let's build more stores. And at the same time, as Netflix is growing, companies like Hulu started. A lot of YouTube videos started popping up. Internet connectivity was getting better. In 2010, you all know what happened. They went bankrupt. They sold them to another company, like I believe Dish Network. And last year, Blockbuster, no more. Well, ducks. I mean, come on. We see a lot of that today, right? I mean, tech companies, we talk about AOL, Netscape, so that's nothing new. This is just a new thing with all these tech companies. I beg to disagree. Anybody in the house remembers a company called Bethlehem Steel? Back in the day, they were the Facebook. They built this country. But because they thought they were the big players, indestructible, same thing happened to them. Now, why are you talking about this, Docs? Okay, fine, companies rise and fall, but the problem is, we think we'd be smarter today. With all these great technologies, you have a lot of great partners and vendors and all this cool stuff that's coming up, there's a big disconnect. You see, the big disconnect is today, while we're innovating greatly with technology, as an organization, we're not adopting as fast. Companies today aren't built for change. Companies today are still operating as if they were in the 1930s industrial age. You see, back then, companies produced massive products. And in order to be successful, they have to be efficient. They have to put processes, they have to put structure in place. And it worked back then because technology wasn't up to snuff. We continue to work in that model to this day, where you have silos, departments, structures, hierarchy, and your vision is we gotta have a 5-year long-term plan in IT. Right? Because the new CIO step up, they need a 5-year plan. We need efficiency. We need better products. Okay, that's cool. Not going to work. Because if you may, this thinking of driving processes and efficiency worked back then for one reason. The reason is, back then, things tend to happen longer because information was scarce. If you were a company in the 1950s and you produce a product and you release it to the market, you don't really know how sales are or customer feedback would be until maybe a couple of months. That's just how it is. That's how information was available. And then until that information is available, you produce the next version of that product or introduce a new feature. And because information was scarce, you as a company, you still had to move. So what did you do? You put together long-term plans, you put together processes because you want to be more efficient in producing whatever you're producing. And since you don't get feedback sooner than later, there's no reason for me to change. I keep doing what I'm doing. Y'all with me? However, as you know, that doesn't cut it today. Today, information is ubiquitous. Today, our customers rely on information to make decisions. Who wants to buy the new Surface Pro 3? Okay, are you just going to walk into Best Buy or Microsoft Store and buy it? I bet you those who raised their hands already read it, looked it up on Engadget, The Verge, all these reviews. Information is freely available, drives customer behavior. Well, docs, I feel you. I mean, we have all this feedback mechanism. In the company, we got Twitter, we got Facebook, we're collecting all this information. But be honest with yourself. What are you doing about it? The competitive advantage today is not collecting information. How do you respond to that information? And I guarantee you, I don't need to ask you to raise your hand, a lot of us don't do squat jack about it. Or jack squat. Hey, forgive me, I'm an immigrant. I'm from, I figured I had a 26-hour flight here, I learned English. Yeah? So, the problem becomes, you behave like a Blockbuster, where it's evident Netflix is coming up, whatever. And you just take this information and just sits on the sidelines. And guess what? Who's going to take advantage of that? Your competitors. The game today is not about how you can be more efficient, how you can be more lean, how you improve processes with ISO 9000, ITIL, TQN. Remember TQN? I think they're banned by PLC. It's not about that. You see, today, because information is widely available, our job as IT organizations is to help the business on how we can optimize responsiveness. I'm not saying we get rid of efficiency, I'm not saying we get rid of processes, they are all important. But the game has changed. What are we doing about it? I mean, if we look at through the years, right? From an industrial revolution, the great Henry Ford introduced this whole idea of hierarchy and structure and processes, org charts. It's great. And then with the information age, where we democratize productivity, well, guess what? We're now in this age of connectedness. Which means, how do we respond? Don't you love it when the business fills out an IT ticket request? Dear IT, I'm a project manager, I'm working on this big marketing campaign with a couple of vendors. Can you get me like a collaboration website with a vendor? And then what would IT do? No internet for you, next! And does that stop the business? No. What do? They go to Box, they go to Dropbox, they go to Google Drive. Even if you blatantly tell them, you can't do that, they need to respond to their customers. The days of having long cycles is long gone. We have to be innovating in a rapid fashion. The days where less information and less data is done. We're now in this age of big data. In fact, there's a saying that, content is king, big data is king. Forget that. Big data is not king anymore. Content is not king anymore. Context is king. What's the context? Read that. Context is king. NYPS working. We live in a world where work is not in a physical cube. It's not 8 to 5. Work is mobile. I'm not talking about devices. You woke up this morning, you started writing an email on your phone. You picked it up on your breakfast table from an iPad. You then complete your email. When you got to the office, you finish up the email, hit send. That's work. Where we're so used to be reactive, this is the time that we have to be responsive. A big change is going on. And I call this change, ShiftHappens. Are we ready for the shift? You see, the next revolution is here. This responsive revolution is here. Some of you are looking at me, Doc, you're a funny guy, but I don't buy what you're selling. Fine. These are the 4 telltale signs that this shift is already happening. Number 1, we live in a BYOD world. I don't even have to explain what that means. And it's not just devices. Going back to my example earlier, if marketing needed to collaborate with somebody externally and you cannot provide that, what do? They BYOD it. Oh, let me just swipe my credit card and buy Dropbox. Y'all with me? When iPad first came out, who in the company wanted their iPad to be hooked up to the VPN? Who? Your CEO. In fact, we as IT today, our jobs are harder. We're not supporting multi-devices, technologies, but we have to be responsive. The second sign of this revolution is just how fast things are moving, and it's because of information. I mean, who would have imagined a guy putting a video on YouTube on July 2012, 6 months later to be the most watched video on YouTube, and he made $8 million off of YouTube ads. Our last name is not the same. He has a P, I don't have a P. The third sign of this revolution is we're asked to do more with less. I don't need to elaborate on that. The business is asking for more, yet your resources are becoming less and less. And then lastly, and this is the most important point of this revolution, communication has drastically changed. I mean, let me see some hands here. How many of you got at least 50 emails last week? 50 emails. At least. Keep it up. Okay? Of those hands that are up, how many of you at that same time frame got 2 handwritten letters? Oh. Why? Shit happens. Today, personally, I don't even use email for my personal stuff. I keep up with family and friends, not with email. How do you keep up with family and friends? WhatsApp, Facebook, Viber, Line. What's that app now that's like keeps the message for 5 seconds? No, not Instagram. That's a picture. Snapchat. See, I'm already behind. I only use my email for Amazon confirmation and bills. I mean, let me ask you this. How did you hear about the royal baby when the royal baby was born? Was it on 6 o'clock news with Brian Williams? No. It's from your friends on Facebook or Twitter or maybe Pinterest. Right? Oh, look at these nice baby clothes. That's how we communicate and engage today. Yet some of you are thinking, well, Dux, again, what's the point? Yeah, speed of information. I know the latest baby and celebrity news. Is there value in this stuff? Well, let me tell you about this. I'm originally from Manila, Philippines, and I'm sure a lot of you know last November, the worst typhoon that was ever reported hit the Philippines. A lot of people died. But one thing a lot of people don't know, because of social and mobile technologies, a lot of lives were saved. Why? Because when the storm hit and everybody was wiped out, including the first responders, communication lines were down, but mobile data was still up. So people on the rooftop were tweeting, I'm here, capture capturing the GPS location. On Facebook, they're posting, we need help here, people injured. That's how they track and save survivors. The U.S. Pacific Command, who was first on the ground from Hawaii, coordinated all their relief efforts with mobile technologies, SharePoint, and Yammer. I just tweeted that case study. You can pick it up. Yes, I'm tweeting while I'm speaking. I'm wearing Google Glass. Not really. So there is value. Lives are saved, right? But the question becomes, this is the new norm in our life, in our world. How come in our business world, you know what the number one killer app in the business world is today? What? What's Yo?
It's an app.
No, that's not the number one business app in the company today. In companies today, hands down, this is the number one tool. If it doesn't exist, people can't work. Email, a 1973 freaking technology. What if we take all this responsive way of engaging, communicating in our personal lives, and kind of shift that to our work lives? What would that look like? You see, we as human beings, we want to connect and engage. We want to respond. We want to be a part of something. Technology has already caught up with how we connect, engage, and respond. It has. It's so natural in our personal lives. But for some reason, in our work lives, there's a disconnect, right? In our work lives, if you think about it, and this is true, on the average, an American consumer works with 4 devices every day. I mean, think about it. You woke up this morning, what's the first thing you reach out to? Your phone. TV. That's a device too. What's that? Glasses. You have tablets. I mean, you notice me walking around a lot because I have Fitbit. I got to put in my steps today. Bunch of devices. We're at a point that we as human beings, we're taking advantage of it. But still, how come we're not making the most out of this in our work lives? I mean, a lot of people tell me, Docs, we have the best IT technologies at work. Everybody has an iPhone, iPad, whatever. I go, what do you really use your iPhone for work? Really? Email. What do you use your iPad for? Email or looking at PowerPoints. You don't use a BlackBerry. So, what would that world look like if we can work and be responsive like how we are in our personal lives?
Today, people are more connected than ever before through social networks, through the cloud, through mobile devices. The world has become a giant network, and every second, people are sharing, learning, and making decisions on the go. They're all part of one hyper-connected world. These are your customers. They expect faster responses, personalized service, better experiences. As a business, you have to always be listening to your customers. Anticipate trends, take action, and adapt quickly no matter what comes your way, so you can always stay one step ahead. You need the latest information at your fingertips to make fully informed decisions. And as a business, you can give your customers exactly what they want, when they want it. So they walk away with experiences as unique as they are. What if you were connected to everything important? What if you and every person in your company could work together like a network? Suddenly, you're plugged into everything that matters to your business. You're social and collaborating in new ways, exchanging ideas with people across the globe. You're always listening to your employees, customers, and partners. You spot new opportunities to adapt quickly and make change happen. You share documents and information in real time and make decisions faster than ever. When you're working together as one connected network, you can grow your business. You understand your customers, you build better products, and you deliver the best experiences. This is the power of a network. now's the time to start working like one.
I mean, while this was a Microsoft video, it doesn't really matter. The point being is, it's all about the customer. And with the speed of information, this drives change. Now, it's up to us what we want to do with this pieces of information. You know, Jack Welch had a great quote around this. He says, if the rate of change on the outside, which is our customers, exceeds the rate of change on the inside, end is near. You want to be the next Blockbuster? You want to be the next Peppermint Steel? AOL? Netscape? It's not a matter of, should I do it? Or do I do it? If I do it? It's just a question of when you do it. Now, okay, docs, I get it. The world is changing. We have to be more responsive to the business. But as IT organizations, how do I do this? Right? What are some of the key steps that I have to think about to make this happen in my organization? So I'm going to share with you 3 steps, and I'm going to talk about tactical examples and ideas that you can certainly take back to your organization and implement. First and foremost, on how you can facilitate business-driven IT and be responsive to the business is you have to transform your organization in how they think, and second, as IT, how you deliver IT. And this transformation is not a massive transformation, it's more of a mind shift. Because we can go all day long and throw out these wonderful technologies. I'm sure a lot of you here have all these technologies, but you're thinking, well, ducks. I mean, we've got all these technologies you're talking about, but we're still the way we are. Why is that? Because the transformation has to happen more from a cultural perspective than a technical perspective. You as IT, your new role is to enable the business. I mean, today, with wonderful technologies like cloud, for example. So I live and work in Washington, D.C. And what's very exciting is even the government and public sector, a lot of organizations see the value of cloud. Now, most of them see the value of cloud technologies because it's cheaper, lower cost of ownership. But in most customers I talk to, they see a bigger value. They see that, you know what, Docs? It's not even about IT losing their job because they can't take care of servers anymore, but service packs or patches. Because now we're freeing up IT from this day-to-day keeping the lights up, and IT cannot help the business further. Y'all with me? Let me ask an example. How many of you have SharePoint in your organization? Or some massive ERP? Yeah, okay, good. So I've been working in this industry since 2000, working a lot with SharePoint, and I'm helping organizations, I know some companies call it ScarePoint, helping organizations maximize business value. But what's so ironic is almost every time the companies come to me, we're going to install the new SharePoint or upgrade the new SharePoint, we want to improve collaboration, productivity, whatever, and we have $1 million for a budget to do this. I go, okay, great. But the thing is, to set it up, to buy all the servers and licenses and the person to take care of it, all that would cost $850,000. So you're telling me you're going to spend $850 just to get infrastructure up, and then the remaining $150 to figure out how you can drive better collaboration and yeah. Well, that's why, to no surprise, in 80% of global SharePoint deployments today, it's nothing but a big cloud dump. Do you agree? A very expensive cloud dump. I know you're not. And if all you're using SharePoint for example, is a big file share on the browser, don't even pay for it. It's too expensive. But with cloud technologies like hosted solutions, forget Microsoft, maybe Amazon or Rackspace, with that same $1 million, I thought you were going to spend $850 to get the infrastructure up. What if we tilt the model? Now you're going to spend $250 maybe on the technology, but you have the remaining $750K to help figure out how you can drive better collaboration and deliver business value. And that's our job today as IT, to be business enabled. You guys feel the love? Now, how do we do that? Our job as IT to transform our organization is to help our business with solutions that would solve their need. And when I say work with business, enough of the typical IT fast food approach. What do you mean, Docs? I've seen this in a lot of companies. How do you like your portal? Do you want a team site, a wiki, a survey? You want to supersize it? Let's throw in some BI. Next! That's how you do it. The business would just take it, but there's no context. That's why, again, going back to my example, SharePoint ends up as a big file dump. What does it solve? Our job, as a part of this transformation, is to identify business needs and map it to a technology solution. We don't go in and start talking about technology. Last year, I was helping an organization with advising them, large global organization, 80,000 people. They're doing a massive upgrade to all the new Microsoft technologies. And then the director, he was showing me their plan, and he was like, what do you think of this, Docs? We're going to upgrade with the new social features, we're going to put news feed, likes, follows, and go, whoa. Why? Just like you, they were very quiet. Makes me insecure again as an immigrant to this country. And my English is not good enough. So I asked another question. ¿Por qué? What are you talking about? Well, why do you think you need these news feeds, follows, likes? Isn't that the new thing? Isn't social and mobile and dashboard? Okay, cool. Well, what does a news feed mean to Mr. Joe in accounting processing invoices every month? Tell me. I don't see it. Right? Well, what does having a mobile app mean to Mark, who's a project manager that has to manage schedules and resources and budget? What does that mean? If you cannot answer that fundamental question, stop. Stop. I'm guilty of this too. I get caught up in the bright shiny objects, latest gadgets. ¿Por qué? When you engage with the business, this transformational thinking and responsive thinking is understand their needs. Anybody watch the Fight Club? What's the first rule of the Fight Club? Don't talk about Fight Club. Don't talk about technology. You got to unlearn your past. You got to unlearn how you work as IT. Okay, I have a IT factory. Okay, AD is up. Firewalls are up. VPNs are running. No external access. Okay. Okay, business. Here you go. Next. Not gonna work. Because you know why? The business today, they're smarter than that. They have options. Remember BYOD? When we talk about the past, we're so locked on this idea of we gotta be more lean and efficient. Again, that's okay. Nothing wrong. But we're discounting the fact in this day and age of how fast information is flowing, we have to be responsive. We have to. You see, the old model, when we look at efficiency versus responsiveness, it really looks at these three core tenets. The model of efficiency is always have to have this grand master plan. Oh, we'll put together an IT 5-year plan, or a transformational plan, 5 years. We put that in place, and then in order to make sure that happens, what do? We tell people what to do. All right, security guys, you should be doing this, you should be investigating that. Business, you can't use your mobile device to access email. We want to control people. It's predictable. Planning, control is predictable. The problem is we live in an unpredictable world. And then the third point around driving efficiency is since I don't really have a choice as a business user, right? IT told me to, use this BlackBerry only and VPN in. There's no point in looking for other options or talking to people or getting ideas. I just keep it in my head and things will be in silo. Y'all with me? Forgive my heavy southern twang. As you know from the deep south, Manila. But that's about efficiency. And we still operate that way. We're comfortable with that. What I'm pitching, what I'm proposing is step up, IT, and think about how you can be more responsive. And the idea of responsiveness, certainly there's a fine balance between the two, but the idea of responsiveness should allow experimentation. I'll show you an example in a second. Meaning, while plans are important, there still should be room for our organization to innovate, to come up with ideas that may work. Allow people to fail. Failure is not a bad thing. Even if you know they're going to fail, let them fail. Whenever I work with customers, they keep forcing their way. It's ironic, right? They hire me to help them figure it out, but they still want to do it their way. So what I do almost always, I say, all right, I'll take you to hell faster. And then once we get there, we'll learn together. You should allow, instead of full control, some level of autonomy. Again, people fail, people succeed, and it's okay. Our organizations today, we have this mindset, failure, autonomy, experimentation. What are you smoking, drugs? And then lastly, transparency. Transparency. Openness. How many of you in your organization spent tons of money on some initiative for some group, and then later on you realize another group already has it? Not only did you waste money, you waste time and effort and opportunity cost. Think about it. What I'm going to show you quickly is a video of a company called Red Robin. Everybody remember Red Robin, right? The burger chain? But in this video, it clearly shows this transformational thinking of IT from Red Robin on how being responsive helped the organization.
In the Great Recession, many best-in-class competitors made decisions around efficiency and effectiveness that helped them preserve their margins. Well, Red Robin hadn't done any of that. And from my experience, I realized that there were a lot of efficiencies to be had if we only unleashed the power of our team members to help us.
Our CFO offered to write a $1,000 check out of his own pocket for the best cost savings idea that we could come up with, but he had two rules around those cost savings. The first is it couldn't negatively impact a guest or a team member. And second is it had to be sustainable. It couldn't be a one-hit wonder.
Well, historically, if you wanted to get ideas from the front line, you went out and you talked to people, and I did that. But with Yammer, you're able to put a challenge out to 25,000 people at the same time.
And what he did is he got on stage and he launched this at our annual leadership conference, but then engaged this contest on Yammer.
Surveys are one-way communication, whereas when you do this kind of challenge in a forum like Yammer, it becomes multi-directional and people can contribute to that idea.
Having that ability has really made us more of an innovative company, which is really going to move us forward in the industry.
Having them talk about it on a social network really engaged the competition. We ended up settling on a pretty simple winner, which was a reusable kids cup.
So it's better for the environment, it's obviously cost savings for the company, and it's a win-win all the way around.
Yammer was a terrific enhancement to that because it gave people the ability, without getting second-guessed or judged, to put ideas on the table about where we could save money without hurting the guest, without hurting the team member, and without compromising on quality.
So again, let's dissect this, right? The CFO, they have their social network. Again, it could be anything. In this case, it's a Yammer. You can use Jive, Chatter, whatever. The CFO decided they want to figure out how to save money. If he sent an email blast to everybody, not really going to work. IT said we got the social network, post it there. And motivate people to put a reward. $1,000 for the best idea. And the way they did that is they crowdsourced the idea, they experimented, right? They're not sure if this will work, but they experimented in 2 weeks. And since Red Robin is a restaurant, not everybody had a computer, but everybody had a mobile phone. They had apps on the phone. So when the servers saw it, they're in the front lines, they responded, change kids' cups, change vendor, whatever. In 2 weeks, they crowdsourced the idea, and then on the 3rd week, made the whole company vote as to what the best idea is. In the 3rd week, they got a winning idea. People were able to discuss. And it was transparent what the other ideas were. But here's something they didn't say on the video. Do you think they only implemented that top idea in cost savings? They implemented the top 50. In 3 months, they saw the return. You talk about responsiveness. And if you look at this, it doesn't cost a lot of money. It doesn't cost a lot of time. It doesn't cost a lot of effort. It's a transformation. So when you want to be responsive, it's not just IT. IT can be the catalyst of it, but it starts all the way from the top to the bottom. It's a mind shift. When you want to drive to responsiveness, to be more responsive, you can't just say, okay, docs, all we're going to do is to make people more autonomous. We're still going to be, lock them up with a plan and be more siloed and be secretive. It doesn't work that way. You can't pick and choose. These 3 things work like a rubber band. It goes hand in hand. Because, for example, if people are very autonomous, but they don't have a clue of what's going on in the company, and they're not sure if they can do it or not, there's no point. And I'm not saying this happens overnight, but this has to happen to keep up. I love it when shift happens. The thinking now is from typical organizational silos who want to move us to be more of a connected organization. And being connected provides responsiveness. That's the first step. To be business-driven IT. You have to transform your organization. The second step is once you get that transformational thinking going on, from IT to the decision makers to the business, now you got to work more around the business, really tying into what the business value is. Because, I could go on and preach the virtue of responsiveness, but if the business doesn't get it, if it's too much for them, they won't care. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, docs. How many of you have rolled out systems that you think is great for the company, but it's just been sitting there, nobody cares for it? Yeah. Sure. It's a distraction. At least it's a perceived distraction from the business. So how do you map this transformational thinking to solid business value? At the business level, you have to talk business because business matters, IT doesn't matter. You can look at key strategies of the company. What are we doing this year for a strategic business plan? Are we trying to save more money or make more money? I know we're doing a lot of acquisitions, right? What are the biggest needs? How can we help that initiative? What about expediting innovation or delivering customer value? How can we do that better? So don't think along the lines of what next version should I upgrade to, but think about this is what we're doing strategically at this department. How can I support that as IT? Y'all with me? Now, specifically around the business, to win them early on, is you have to be able to facilitate purposeful collaboration. Now, what do I mean by that? I know being IT, when we want to work with technology and systems and tools, we get caught up in a lot of the bright, shiny objects and complex things. always discounting the day-to-day needs of the business, which we think it's very simple. But to get business to adapt, you gotta help them with their day-to-day needs. What are the low-hanging fruits? It can be as simple as helping them better manage their meetings. I mean, I'm sure you've been there, you know. You have a meeting, you fire Pablo or Lotus Notes. Anybody using Lotus Notes? Okay, good. You fire Pablo, send a meeting invite, stick in a bunch of attachments, send it to everybody, and then after the meeting, action items come back and forth with all these attachments. You know how that works. That's a pain. Right? But we as IT, we get caught up, I don't want to deal with those simple things. Me and IT, I want to hook up, our ERP with CRM and run DMC. Because that gets us excited. That's fine, but the business doesn't care. So how do we do this? How do we facilitate purposeful collaboration? What are some of the quick wins, right? What are some of the low-hanging fruits? So let me share an example. So for example, Pete said earlier, I wrote the book SharePoint for Project Management. Who read that one? Nobody? Tell you what, I have a book signing later, but if those books aren't enough, come by the booth, I'll send everybody a code so you can download an ebook version of it. Would that work? Okay. So the concept there is, I saw people managing projects just with email. I said, this could be better. And people are like, well, Dux, you don't understand. All the other tools are so complex, like Primavera, Clarity, Project Server. It's too much for project management. I go, okay. You know what? SharePoint and related tools, that could be a good middle ground. They go, really? I go, yeah. What if, other than email, I'm not saying you kill email, you can still work together with existing tools that you have, UIOD, Office, and have a project site and have all that work together. Would that be something you're interested in? Okay, show me that, Dux. Okay, check this out.
Meet my colleague Alex. He and I are working on putting together a presentation for our boss. Thanks to SharePoint 2013, we're able to easily centralize and manage all related artifacts and communications for this project. On a typical day, Alex would start working from home using his Mac. He would check his email from a browser and start work from there. Looks like Alex is reviewing the task for the project, and he has some questions for me about the project. Just by using the browser, he's able to instant message me using technologies like Link. One of the key benefits of SharePoint 2013 is a deep integration with existing tools that we already use, like Microsoft Office, smartphones, and even web-based technologies. So even if I am out and about, I'm still not at the office yet, I can easily respond to Alex on my phone and update my tasks. The beauty with SharePoint 2013 is that I can continue working with Alex once I get to the office. You just assign me a task on the project site, and look at what happens. It automatically shows up on my task list in Microsoft Outlook. Isn't that cool, or what? Additionally, within Outlook, I can email the entire team directly using this neat feature called Site Mailbox. The Site Mailbox is available not only in Outlook, but it's the same Site Mailbox that the team can see and interact with directly on the project site. The Site Mailbox also provides visibility to all the documents I have in the project site. So what do you think? Are you excited? I am. This is the new way to work together with SharePoint 2013.
What do you think? Cool stuff, right? You could do this today. Yeah, get over it. I use a Mac. So, BYOD, right? But the point being is, instead we keep pushing the business, use this tool. How do you work, business? I like my phone, I like my Outlook, I like my Mac. Okay, we'll make it work for you. As long as the technology supports it. I mean, going back to my example here, so this is that same project site. And the idea here is I have my one-stop shop for all my project-related information other than documents, my tasks, all the conversations around the project team. Very cool. Now this project was to put together a presentation for this event, so my team is rooting for me right now. but I want them to be involved. So what I want to do, I brought up the app on my phone because I want to take a photo so my team back at the farm can see what's going on here. Is that okay? Can you help me get a picture? So let's take a group selfie here. So, have you seen a this one? Okay, sorry. Come up here. So just hit this button. Alright? That button. Alright, 1 second. I gotta be in the picture. Alright, you guys come on, type your face. Alright, let's give it a big hand. So responsive, right? I mean, what if IT, the only way for me to do this is I'm on the field, I can't get in my project site because I need a laptop with a VPN. But spur of the moment engagement and responsiveness, it's not possible. But again, we're empowering people, tools are available. And 2 seconds, you talk about being responsive. My team back at the farm, through our project newsfeed, let's hit refresh. One, two, three, four. There you go. That's how you work like a network. How's everything so far? Good stuff? All right. When you want to map the business value, it's about them. Different business groups have different business needs. And you already have the technology to support them, but you have to shape it in a way that answers to their needs. If project managers needs a more solid project management system, provide that. If HR requires a better way to do onboarding that fulfills their need, you can provide that. But it's about them, not about the technology. Well, docs, I understand. I mean, that's all cool, I get it, but I'm in a heavy regulated industry. What about security? What about compliance? I mean, tonight we're going to have a big party. I was interested in that bacon cupcake. By the way, I'm going to let you in a little secret. I somehow bribed the waiters to put the bacon cupcake on our booth at Point, so they're going to come by. But let's say tonight, guys, we're going to party hard, we bring all our devices, and I've got sensitive data here, right? I've got secured information. If I left my device or somebody stole my device, it's a big problem. Tell me, how should I respond around that? I'm not saying being responsive is being I'm not saying if you're responsive, you're not concerned with your organization's needs and security and compliance. When you talk about map to business value, what we're also talking about, what's the business value at organization level? And you should not be careless. So let me give you an example. We have a big government customer. They have offices around the world, and their use case is docs. The director travels around the world. He needs access to information, but sometimes this director goes to places with not friendly entities there. Can we configure a way where if he logs into the system within corporate, we can log in with the username and password, but if he's elsewhere, we want not only to authenticate who he is, we want to authenticate a specific device. So we want to put a policy and say, only this specific iPad with this MAC address can get through. Y'all with me? But then we also want to authenticate a specific location. Docs can log into this system with this iPad with this longitude and latitude between 8 to 5. We talk about Big Brother. I go, yeah. If that's a solid business need, sure. So let me show you. So let's say, I'm out and about, I'm using my Mac to log in, and I'm not at corporate, so I logged in my username and password. Based on the IP address, it knows I'm not at corporate. So it flashes a QR code, essentially telling me, hey, grab your phone, take a picture of this with the app, and we're going to report back to corporate your long and lat. And once your long and lat is good, the site will load. Right? So as soon as that happens, boom, the site loads. I can work. But what does that look like on the corporate level? So as an IT admin, as IT, you want to provide visibility and audit what's going on. So I go to the IT console, I log in, and as I log in, I can pull up a log and look at all the content access. So as I'm looking at all the access, oh, there it is, Docs just logged in, accessing the specific content from this location, which is an approved location. Let me click on that and see where that is. Big map shows up, I can zoom in and pinpoint where a content is being accessed by what device, by who, at what time. Those go. So what's my point? My point is, I'm not saying you have to do this, but if there's a need for this, we have a lot of great partners out there that has this technology. The technology is here, but you got to step back and say, okay. The third and last step. We talked about to be responsive, you have to transform the thinking of your organization. You got to map it to your business value. The third step, which we fail at big time, is IT. How do we sustain this? IT, we're really good with upgrading new systems, and once the new upgrade is done, I'll see you in 3 years. Have a good life. That's what we're good at. Being responsive is a big change. And how do we sustain this change? How do we facilitate sustainable adoption through time? You want to ensure lasting buy-in. And what that means is, first and foremost, when you map the business value, people have to be excited about the solution. Earlier, when I showed the little demo on the taking a picture, I saw a lot of faces lit up. Ah, that's really cool. If you want to see more cool stuff, attend my session tomorrow. I'm going to show you how to use SharePoint-related technology for project management. But not only should people be excited at what the possibilities are, it should facilitate positive change. Does it make their life better? Can they work easier and faster and more efficient? And lastly, are they empowered to help themselves and help other people to grow in maturity of utilizing that solution? And you cannot do this alone, friends. As IT, we're so used to doing it ourselves. Step up and work with the other teams in your organization. Corporate communications, HR. You want to drive lasting adoption? You have to put together a campaign, effective one to say the least, and have a roadmap so whatever solution you put in place, because you want to be responsive, will last through time. You need to groom champions. As IT, we cannot do all this by ourselves. On one hand, you want to be responsive. But on the other hand, if you're responsive and you help a bunch of folks, guess what? A lot of them will have questions. IT cannot answer every single question that comes into the ticket request. Or Remedy. Anybody use Remedy? So you need to groom champions in the business with a specific use case. So for example, like the project management one, when I work with organizations to drive these kinds of transformation, I pilot a lot of these initiatives, and let's say with project managers, we have the project managers excited, they could be your champion. They'll be hungry, they'll be thirsty, but put together a plan for them on how they can be successful through time. When you deliver training is important, but the training has to be contextual. Ensure that training is relevant. Enough with technical training. We're going to send you to a 3-day power user training. We're going to send you to an end user training. Again, that doesn't mean anything. The way you train the business and make them adapt should be in context on how they do work. Okay, as a project manager, when you kick off a project, here's what you can do to centralize all the tasks and documents. When you're doing change management or change requests, here's how you can fill up a change request form. You follow me? And training doesn't have to be boring. Training can be fun. Make it interactive. So, for example, one of the things I help organizations with when we put together training programs around system rollout and technology rollout is I empower the champions to train their people in simple lunch and learns. So one of the things I do is I do this thing called SharePoint Jeopardy, for example. Do you guys want to see this? Let me show you. Let's play SharePoint Jeopardy. All right. So the idea is, let's say we roll out SharePoint, And we can't afford to send everybody to training. There's resources IT produced and training department produced. And the thing is, you give people homework. Okay, go study up, because next week in our department at lunch, we're going to play SharePoint Jeopardy. And whoever gets it right will get prizes, okay? So it's fun, it's low-key, it's non-threatening, but people will actually participate. You want to play this, SharePoint Jeopardy? All right, let's play SharePoint Jeopardy. All right, welcome to SharePoint Jeopardy. I'm your host, Dux. First category, SharePoint doesn't suck. For 100. All right, this feature in SharePoint allows up to 99 people edit a document at the exact same time. What feature is this? What is co-authoring? There you go. Co-authoring. Well, he tried, so Virgin, so let's give him a prize. All right, let's give him again. Who said Virgin? Who said Virgin? You did? Who shouted Virgin? All right, what just happened here? Hey, it was fun, it was interactive, but we all learned as well. Everybody with me? Okay, I'm not giving up on you. Let's try one more. Let's try one more. Upgrades. Hopefully you should know this. What type of upgrade where configuration data for the farm and all the content in the farm is upgraded on this existing hardware?
In place.
Ah, who said that? How do you answer in Jeopardy?
What is in place?
What is in place upgrade? Very good. Let's give him a big hand. You get a prize. In place upgrade. I shouldn't have asked an easier question. Now, you guys like this? Do you want this? It's just PowerPoint. Some of you are thinking, oh, we can't afford that. No, it's PowerPoint. I'll send it to you. Everything I'm showing here, the videos, the deck, in fact, this whole session, I'm recording it. Everything I show you, I'll send it to you. I'll zip it up to like a 10 gig file, I'll send it in an attachment. Now, I'll work with the organizers and make that happen. Provide scalable support. You alone can't do it. Provide a way where users can help themselves through a knowledge center or a portal. Have a platform where they can help each other, a community-based knowledge sharing platform, and then IT should be the last resort of help. You want to be responsive, you have to be scalable as well. And lastly, this can be all fun and engaging and meaningful, but it has to be measurable. It has to be. When we talk about measuring success around driving responsiveness, we look at two aspects, qualitative measure and quantitative. So for example, let's say your first business goal is to help drive better team collaboration with your technology investment. How does it enable this? What was achieved? How is it measured? So this is your qualitative measure. But if you get asked, prove it, Docs, prove it that we're now better collaborating or we're closing projects sooner, you can look at now quantitative measures through your stats and logs and analytics. But one cannot exist without the other. Because if you saw in this analytics, wow, last week there were 10,000 likes. It may be good, but it may be because the Spurs won, people like that message. Woo, go Spurs. To facilitate business-driven IT, 3 steps. Transform your organization from a perspective of how they think and how they behave to be more responsive. Map it to a specific business value and use cases. And third, you have to facilitate and drive sustainable adoption. What do you guys think? Is this useful? Let me ask you this. Who's ready to do these steps? Raise your hand. I flew all the way from DC. Who's ready to do these steps? Raise your hand. All right, stand up. I'm going to show you these steps. Stand up. I'm going to show you these steps on how you lead the revolution. All right, everybody. So, the way you do this,
오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일
so, the way you do this,
낮에는 따사로운
to lead the revolution,
인간적인 여자 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자 그런 반전 있는 여자 나는 선호해 낮에는 너무 따사로운 그런 선호해 커피 식기도 전에 원샷 때리는 선호해 밤이 오면 심장이 터져버리는 선호해 그런 선호해 아름다워 사랑스러워 그런 너 그래 바로 너 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 그래 바로 너 지금부터 갈 때까지 가볼까 오빤 강남스타일
thank you for having me here. I look forward to talking to you and enjoying the rest of the conference.